to help entrepreneurs and serve entrepreneurs in the commercialization of their new ventures. I'm going to move over a little bit because Melissa and I are, Melissa's going to be presenting as well. And hi, Melissa. And so we're going to actually swap chairs because we're in the same room. So it works better flow wise. But I-10's focus is to help entrepreneurs launch their new ventures. And we do this with the support, thank you, of our ecosystem partners, which is absolutely critical to us. And also with a focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion. We want to be sure that we have policy and practices that is open and inclusive to a very diverse and broad community of entrepreneurs. And then even the broader community, so our businesses and corporations that are in the community also engage in our programmings and help us and our entrepreneurs along their journey. But, you know, the team, as I mentioned, they're talented and bright people. They're experienced entrepreneurs. Our EIRs are serial entrepreneurs, and our staff, we've all been involved in startups ourselves. Our mentors are a fabulous community of business professionals who graciously volunteer their time and expertise. They work in various industries and have various functional expertise. And then our community partners, the other entrepreneur support organizations, we have a little bit more formal relationship with 22 entities. We work with everyone, and we love to work with everyone. But with 22 of the entities, we have more kind of formalized relationships where we support each other's, promote each other's organizations, and cross-refer entrepreneurs to one another. And I mentioned our commitment to DEI. We've had that since the beginning of I-10 and continue to work on making sure that not only I-10, but the entrepreneur community is supportive and inclusive. And then also on the national, state, and local levels, we're part of different ecosystem organizations. So just like our entrepreneurs, we're always trying to learn and grow and improve our service offerings. And then most recently, in May of this year, or last year, we became part of Lindenwood University. And that presents a fabulous opportunity for both I-10 and the companies we support. Lindenwood is very committed to expanding their entrepreneur programming within the university community, but they also want to improve their community engagement in the St. Louis region. So for all of those reasons, we feel strong and confident about what we're doing for entrepreneurs in our community, and that we can continue to work on our commitment to support them in the launch of successful new ventures. I spoke about the community. Most of you are familiar with our ecosystem map, which we publish every year, update it in printed form, and we also have it in digital form. But this map is probably, the number of entities on here is probably quadrupled in the last 6 years easily. And so it's always growing. That's a wonderful thing, but it's also a challenging thing for entrepreneurs. So how do you navigate this? So one of the big roles that I-10 plays is providing wayfinding services for our startups. So we make sure that they connect with the right entrepreneur support organizations at the right time in their journey. And as a good ecosystem partner, and I think I can say that with confidence, we make significant connections that are meaningful to our startups. And so as an example, we made over 160 connections to the Small Business Development Center last year. MTC, Missouri Technology Corporation, has 30 companies in their portfolio, I-10 companies in their portfolio. SLU Starts program, we made over 60 referrals to that program last year, and 59 of our companies received ARCH grants. That's in total, not last year, but year to date, or since inception. And then 30 of our companies are in Capital Innovators portfolio. So just as an example to show that the ecosystem is critically important to our entrepreneurs and to us, and we are very diligent about making sure that our entrepreneurs know what resources are available to them at the right time in their journey. We've had a great partnership with Kara Stone, who has sponsored our ecosystem map. This will be the 3rd year that they have committed to sponsoring our map. And Mark Garafanini and Claire Tillmont are the individuals that we work with on a regular basis at Kara Stone. As I said, they've been a great sponsor of ours. They enabled us to launch the digital version of our map, which is on the website. So this is one that's, more live, if you will. It's up to date, it's digital. So you can actually search for resources and drill down and get additional information to them. But again, we were able to launch this map 3 years ago because of Kara Stone's support. And Mark is a fantastic source of knowledge about the VC community and startups. And he's given a couple Second Thursday presentations for us, and he's got one coming up. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later as well. So I talked about the importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion in our community, and just wanted to share with you some numbers about how, what we're realizing as a result of our efforts. I-10 was a founding member and steering committee or lead organizer of 2 DEI organizations in the region, the St. Louis Equity and Entrepreneurship Collective and the Vision Inclusion Symposium. And so we have been committed to them since the start. We will continue to be committed to them and work on making sure that our community and our entrepreneur support organizations understand what important policies and practices they should have in place. That's the focus of the Equity and Entrepreneurship Collective. And Vision's focus is making sure that the entrepreneurs from more diverse and broader areas understand what resources are available to them. So just to look at the complexion of who I-10's community members are, 63% are first-time entrepreneurs, and half of them are still working their full-time job while they're doing their startup. So those are things that are very important for us to keep in mind as we think about what programs, services, and resources our entrepreneurs need. And then on the diversity side, 41% are people of color and 36% are female founders, which is really, we're very proud of that number, given that we're in the tech area, which is predominantly male. 10% immigrants, 9% veterans, and 4% each, both for people with disabilities and LGBTQ. The veterans component of this, as I said, we are continuing to focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion at the broadest level, but we're also talking with one of our community partners, VetBiz, the Veterans Business Resource Center, about ways that we can engage more veterans as entrepreneurs and support them on their journey. So you'll probably be, you'll be hearing more from us about that in the coming weeks. So when we thought about today and talking about 2020, there's a lot of crazy things that happened last year, and we really didn't want to go there because in all honesty, last year was a really great year for a lot of our startups and for I-10 making progress. So this quote was compelling to me, so I just thought I'd share it with you as kind of a way to set the tone. But I also like the fact that it spoke to me about why I love working with entrepreneurs so much, because I think it goes to their character. They are brave, they're committed, they're hardworking, and when adversity comes, they keep charging ahead. And just as an example, last year, just a few spotlights on some of our companies. Gift a Meal provided over 500,000 meals to food banks. 3 of our companies, Emerge, Resilient, and Provider Pool, all were accepted into the Techstars Accelerator Program. Oh, I'm locking up again here, Melissa. Phase 3 is they do cardiac home rehab. They got a contract with Barnes Jewish Hospital Foundation to do a pilot program. Doesn't like me. That's right. And sorry about that.
You want to keep talking?
Yeah, I'll just keep going. I'm sorry, you guys, it might not be synced up with what I'm saying, but I'm just going to keep talking because we have limited time. Mission Control, one of our other companies, raised $1.7 million, and Balto, the customer service call center software, raised $10 million. So, given that it was a pretty challenging year, those are just a few examples of the resiliency, commitment, and determination of our entrepreneurs. And as I said, kind of the thing that, you know, kind of excites me every day to be working and supporting this community. So we're clicking through here, Melissa, and I'm getting ready to turn it over to you.
Yeah. So I get to suffer through it.
What we're going to do next, then, I am going to turn this over to Melissa, and she's going to talk to you about our programs, some of them new, and services that we offered, and you know, kind of what happened and what was realized and what impact came out of that last year. So with that, I'm going to move out of the way and turn it over to Melissa.
Okay. Thank you, ML. Okay, so thumbs up if you can see the pretty version of the slides. Everyone see that we had 58 companies join? Yay! Yes. Okay. All right. No, I'm excited to dig into to our programs and tell you a little bit more about the companies that we have. That every year we onboard somewhere between 50 and 75 usually companies every year, and we have an onboarding a rolling process. So anyone that signs up in a month, we have monthly onboarding sessions, and so you can sign up and then come and attend an onboarding session, and we will get you connected into mentors, into programs, into events, and basically have companies that range from the idea stage. So sometimes companies that aren't even, don't even have a name yet, are just purely at the idea stage all the way up through growth and scaling and raising outside capital. So this is how the 58 companies that joined in 2020 broke out at the various stages. So you can see that the bulk of our companies are sort of at that early prototype stage or just starting to enter their markets and validate their businesses. But one thing that, you know, we historically as a nation have seen is that times of crisis often launch some of the most innovative companies that we have in our history. And so just as ML mentioned, we've had a lot of really great things happening, and we're really excited about the programs that we've launched to possibly help launch the next Disney that came out of the Depression, Microsoft out of the energy crisis of the 70s, Google and Salesforce got their start during the dot-com bust, and all the great companies that came out of the Great Recession like Fitbit, Airbnb, Uber, Square. So we want to be a part of one of the next great companies that will look back and go, wow, that happened during COVID. Because if you take a look at what the high points of our startups were for 2020, this is just a little bit of what they had to say. They were resilient, they were innovative, they were quick to pivot when needed and respond to new opportunities and disruptions. And they were even successful in raising significant rounds of capital. So just want to take a moment, you know, and it reminds me of the quote that says, you know, to love what you do and know that it matters. This is, I love what I do, and look at how, you know, the people that I get to help do some really cool stuff. So we couldn't do this, as ML showed our team slide at the beginning. We are a lean and mean team, and we rely heavily on our wonderful volunteer mentors to help deliver all of our programs and to meet one-on-one with our startups on a regular basis. We had over 2,300 hours of programs and mentoring with our, you know, from our mentors and from our staff in the programs. And these are the mentors that are currently part of our program. A special shout out to the ones that joined us in 2020, the ones that are in bold. So Nishad Balachandran, Jennifer Bardot, Chris Copeland, James Evans, Bill Haynes, Jacob Lactus, Samantha Menezes, Brian Poznansky, Jacob Petrov, Ken Maccabee, and Chalali Shabangu. And then I also wanted to give a shout out. I'll talk about our newest program, the Eureka Experience, in just a minute. But I wanted to especially highlight those mentors that raised their hand and really dug in with us with this new program. and the new curriculum and getting their head around all the new tools. So shout out to Jason Ashton, James Evans, Tom Geiser, Matt Camp, Susan McLaughlin, Dan Miklovic, Ken Maccabee, Jacob Petroff, and David Weaver, who have been attending our workshops back in the fall for ideation and are currently going through our validation program with our startups. And then we're also very proud of our high Net Promoter Score that our startups gave us in our programs this year. As Emil mentioned, we have a variety of programs all along the journey that our entrepreneurs take, as well as referring them to our community partners. And this is another map that we do, our tech pathway map for entrepreneurs. And this is a way to sort of put some of those resources that you see on the ecosystem map on the journey where they're the most helpful. So people can kind of see where they make the most sense for them. And as you can see, we have programs that start right at the idea stage and follow the entrepreneurs as they go through different stages in their commercialization journey. And this year, our most recent addition to our programming is called the Eureka Experience. You may have heard when we launched it back in the fall, we're very excited to have this new offering for the earliest stages of companies. So the Eureka Experience takes companies from idea through to product market fit through two programs, the ideation component, which we had back in the fall, which is it's an 8-week program. And then right now we're currently in the middle of the validation component. So we had 25 companies, 30 participants representing 25 companies participate in ideation. And this is a program that uses the Lean Stack set of tools and playbooks that were put together by Ash Moria, who invented the Lean Canvas. And now he has built an entire suite of tools and curriculum around that. So that's at the core of the Eureka Experience. And then we build wraparound services with our mentors and some of our other services alongside the curriculum. So the companies in ideation spend time on their Lean Canvas and really laying out their initial assumptions of a business model and create what's called a traction roadmap. So they get some early customer traction goals set. And then in validation, they will take those assumptions and really test them through the customer discovery process, problem discovery interviews, putting together a product offering, and getting that initial early traction. And the validation program, while the ideation program was open to anyone, the validation one had an application and we selected 10 companies to move forward in that. So one of those companies that I want to just take a second to have, I can sit up here and tell you all about our stuff, but it's also, I think, much more interesting to hear directly from the companies that participated in them. So one of our founders, I assume Brian is here. I can't see all my screens. All right. Is Brian Pearson. He's the founder and CEO of EDU Rain. That he participated in the ideation program in the fall and is currently going through validation now in our spring cohort. Brian, you want to introduce your company to the room?
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Hello. Thank you. Thank you guys. Thank you folks for coming today. When high school students that are generally low income and or first generation, when they're trying to get financial aid for college and housing, they usually run into problems with the tools that are already out there. Either they cost or they have high interest loans, and they're just like it's a fragmented system that takes a lot of time. That's why EDU Rain has built a platform that gives you 3 modules that puts financial aid, scholarships, and housing in one place. We help you file your FAFSA for free in 5 minutes. We have 20,000 scholarships on our platform. And when you're ready to move off campus, we give you a 0 interest loan that allows you to pay for first one's rent and deposit to secure housing. And our unique value proposition is for college-bound students, can/struggle to secure financial aid scholarships, off-campus housing, EduRain provides a software platform which eliminates all these financial obstacles to higher education. With EduRain, more students will have unprecedented financial access, allowing them to attend college while minimizing debt, all from one platform. There's no one other one-stop shop for financial solution for college-bound students before and during college like EduRain.
Awesome. And can you share a little bit about how the Eureka your experience has impacted your company, kind of where you were when you started back in October with Eureka and where you are now?
Well, I think that for me, as anybody knows me, as they can imagine, I have a bunch of documents all over the place with a lot of people. They said this, they said that, they said that, having over 3,000 conversations, and then, going to a program like this, and it's like, okay, let's actually have a structured approach to actually how we document what people are saying. And, and just in this program, being in a part of ideation in November, roughly, right? That program started in November.
October.
Late October, yeah.
Since then, we've had 160 users on our platform, and we've had over 2,000 people visit our website. So it's really helped me with our mentors and advisors, help us validate what we are doing and the problems that we're solving and how we compare to our competitors. We've really gotten really deep in the weeds with that, by myself, it would have been hard to do because I wouldn't have the paperwork to just show them easily, here it is. And then being able to go and say because I fight with our mentors about stuff that's not a thing. One of our mentors was like, most college students don't have jobs. And I'm like, that's wrong. That half college students have jobs. And then when you're trying to work with people that have been successful and trying to help you, that back and forth of what actually students' life is to how to create a successful company, that's the back and forth you need to be able to actually push a product into a market like this where everybody is smart, but they don't know how to do anything.
Right. No,
sorry. That's critique of higher ed.
No, well, thank you so much. Yeah, and you brought up something I meant to mention too, that a big cornerstone of this program is the not only entrepreneurial mindsets and thinking in the continuous innovation mindset, but also creating processes, like you said, giving tools that are scalable and repeatable and things you learn now that you can continue as you move forward with your company. So thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate you coming and sharing a little bit about your experience with Eureka. And we're excited to offer, we'll be offering the ideation cohort again soon. So be on the lookout for those dates coming in early summer. And also as companies move down this path and they validated their business model and they're starting to get the outside traction that investors are looking for, we then have a program called Investor Readiness that helps them get ready to do that. Most people still call it Mock Angels, which is one component of it. That's the pitch perfection. We help you get your message and the structure and the content of your pitch together, but we also offer support on the due diligence preparation and align you with an EIR and then introduce you to our investor network once you finish the program. And our IRP graduates are also eligible for some provider perks specifically for those graduates. So before I introduce our next company, I wanted to just share a little bit about the success in this area for 2020. So we actually, our entrepreneurs doubled the self-funding from last year. So that might speak to a little bit of how the outside capital was maybe a little tighter in the crazy year that was 2020, and they were slightly more reliant on their own funds. But 56 companies did secure outside capital, and including 27 million in equity and 6.3 million in grants and loans. And in the 6.3 is 2.1 million in the CARES PPP loans that they were able to take advantage of that helped them get through the shock of last summer and into the fall. And our companies in total, in just the last 5 years, have raised 165 million. That's an average of over 33 million a year. and typically around 50 companies are what are raising in any given year, because typically you'll have a raise and then you'll kind of focus on hiring and launching products, and then you'll raise again. So sort of that kind of cycle that will happen. So I wanted to just have one of our founders of a company that is just about to graduate from IRP, started last fall and is finishing up here the last few months. And David, can you tell us a little bit about Total Orbit and what you guys are up to?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Melissa. Great to have a chance to share a little bit about the company that we're building with your help. So a little bit about Total Orbit. So for healthcare providers that need a scalable, more powerful and lasting way to educate and engage with their patients on the key information that really drives behavior and results, Total Orbit's virtual mentor, something we call an Orbit, is a care team and CFO friendly way to produce the more engaged, capable, and compliant patients needed to achieve healthcare's holy grail of cost savings with better patient experience and outcomes. So Orbits, they're clinically validated to improve patient satisfaction, enhance patients' ability to navigate the care journey, and to reduce readmissions. So that's kind of what we're all about. If you'd like to learn more about us, happy to connect in the chat for those of you in the audience, and you can visit our website at totalorbit.com.
Awesome, great, thank you. Can you share a little bit about the impact that the IRP program has had as you're getting ready to go out and raise outside capital?
Yeah, absolutely. And I kind of have an interesting take on this because I've been involved in a program kind of sitting in the chair that you do, Melissa, at one point in time, and I run a high-tech startup accelerator. So, when I came in and we started going through this, it was really great to see how strong the program that I-10 has built is. I mean, really positive, great feedback. As we were doing our pitches and giving us the feedback, really helping us progress to where we are today. The due diligence support, helping us, with, the checklist you wanted us to build and getting that data room was something that was really, really a solid step, and something every company that's going to go raise money needs to do way sooner than they think they need to. So I think overall, really strong, and certainly compared to what other ecosystems across the country are doing, folks in St. Louis should be really excited to have I-10.
Well, thank you. Yes, no, we really want our companies to put their best foot forward to make their presenting mistakes or not have their stuff organized. We can help them because we want them to be able to, to do that in a safe environment and put their best foot forward when they go to pitch in a real environment. So
absolutely,
I'm excited to have you be able to announce your guys' graduation from this program in probably a number of days. Awesome.
Yeah, and as somebody who's done this, you can't do surgery on yourself. So, getting that feedback from somebody, yet you get too close to it, you just got to have outside people help you. So your team did a great job.
Well, thanks so much. Thank you for coming here and sharing today. And then one other thing I wanted to touch on, as ML briefly mentioned at the beginning, is we really pride ourselves on our wayfinding services that we do with our companies. So in addition to the group onboarding sessions that they attend when they first join, we also sit down with them one-on-one and really try to understand where they fit on this path and what their most immediate needs are. So we can connect them to the appropriate mentors, the appropriate programs, and also to the broad range of our community partners, other ESOs in the region, other key pitch opportunities, just a lot of organizations, because we really want to put our entrepreneurs first. And what does the entrepreneur need? We know it takes an ecosystem to raise an entrepreneur, and we value those connections that we make for our companies. And as a result of the ones that we made in 2020, those resulted in 228 new customers, new partners, new investors, or new awards or pitch competition cash that was earned by our startup companies. So we will help them get ready for these things. We'll open doors for them. We'll get them, like I said, ready to put their best foot forward. And we also have a number of perks for our member companies, from AWS hosting to other, to HubSpot, to other professional providers that have reduced rates for our members, and they took advantage of over $120,000 in member perks this past year. And so I wanted to just introduce one other founder, Brian Belvin, who's the founder of RoomTap, to just share a little bit about his experience with us. Brandon, you want to?
Yeah, so RoomTap helps power co-working spaces to success with a focus on member experience and connecting them in an expanding network of spaces. With the world recovering and returning from COVID, co-work is expecting to double in the next couple of years. And that provides opportunities for growth, but it also gives incentive for the larger players to move into town. Existing solutions do a good job dealing with the space's members and rooms, but they don't provide any tools to help independent co-working spaces compete against their larger rivals. RoomTap can manage their spaces, but it also connects them in a virtual co-working network and public marketplace for booking rooms. And we give them access to revenue and benefits that rival their larger competitors.
Awesome. Great. That's the first time I've heard your spiel lately. So that was a great update for me too.
It's a new one.
Yeah. Can you just share a little bit about the advantages of hanging out with us for the last chunk of months?
Oh yeah. So last year, some great benefits appeared in Union, the network that
The community
I-10
engagement
provides.
platform that we
Exactly.
use. Yes. Mhm.
Yeah, and so Union is a really great place for people to connect with other entrepreneurs and also to learn about the things that are happening in I-10, which is where I happened to learn about the new AWS credits that came along last year. We actually we applied for that and got a decent chunk of credits that's going to help us stay revenue neutral, which is zero-ish. As we're building out the product and in testing this, it gives us the opportunity to grow without burning through our cash right away. But it also connected us to mentors and legal discounts that are really going to help solidify our standing with getting everything in the right place without, again, burning through all of our money. It's really helping us thrive. And then as well, you were mentioning pitch competitions. The Southern Illinois Business Development Council has a pitch competition that they do every year, and I found out about that through Union and applied to that, and we came away with a win there that helped buffer us a little bit, coming into the new year. So there's been a lot of great benefits just from being around I-10 and keeping an eye on the things that are coming up through the organization.
Yeah, no, a big shout out to Connie on our team who does our social media and also does our perks, coordinates that, and puts things, posts things in our member platform. Like Brandon said, the events that are coming up, we'll always make sure another thing that she puts together is the Startup Digest that comes out every week on Tuesday mornings. You can sign up for that on our website, but that's a great email too that will have things like pitch competitions, Arch Grants deadline coming up at the end of the month, and we can help our companies get ready, for those and be. But I'm glad that you paid attention to the discussion boards in Union, Brandon, and were able to take advantage of some of the connections in the community and some of the perks to help you extend that precious cash even further. So thanks so much for sharing a little bit with the group today. And I am going to now turn things back over to ML to share a little bit more about the data that came out of 2020 and what's happening in 2021.
Thank you, Melissa. We're sitting in this conference room on rolling chairs. I said we should just sit in our chairs and roll across and roll in and out when it's our turn to speak. When all said and done, the measure of our success is really what our entrepreneurs accomplish, what those startups can do, and what impact they can have on the community, but also on launching their new business. So their measures of success that we look at include their innovation. So how active were they at new product launches? Last year we had 8 patent applications and awards from our companies, 49 introduced minimal viable products, MVPs, and 68 commercial products were launched. So they had a very productive year on the innovative side of the equation. And then workforce development, this is an area that a lot of times, I don't think a lot of people, probably most of us here realize this, but in the broader community, sometimes when you talk about startups, I don't think they fully appreciate how impactful they are, both in job creation and training workforce and talent development. And so that's another area that we track. So last year, our 37 companies added 186 jobs. And since 2012, they've added approaching almost 2,000 jobs. And as they grow their business and employees, they're also generating a payroll. So they've created paying jobs for people, 17.3 million in annual payroll last year, and monthly revenue, 1.8 million was the monthly revenue average for our companies. And so that, that's looking back, but they also shared with us that 32 of the companies are already planning to add new jobs in 2021. So right now they're projecting that they'll be adding, close to 300 jobs. So again, more good news, positive, productive work that our startups are doing and contributing to the St. Louis region. And of course, we do this, we provide much of what we do free. There is a fee for the validation program, but to be a member of I-10 is no charge. And we are able to do that because of the generous support of our sponsors and donors. And we are truly grateful to them because not only do they provide us jobs and work to do, but they're really standing up and supporting our entrepreneur community so that it can grow and be a true driver of economic impact. And so that was a quick look at our past year, the good things that are happening, the exciting things that are happening, and the future is very bright. We are very excited about not only 2021, but beyond that. There's a lot of great things happening for us and that will occur in the ecosystem. Specifically to us, our partnership with Lindenwood University that came to fruition last May of 2020. Lindenwood, as I mentioned, is very committed to providing more robust entrepreneur programming within the Lindenwood community, but they also want to get more engaged in the broader St. Louis region, and support the entrepreneur community at a regional level. Melissa talked, I'll stop for a second there. So that's Lindenwood, but for I-10, what does that mean? It provides us value-added services. So for example, right now we have student project teams that are working with the entrepreneurs in validation. We're offering internships. If you need summer interns, please visit our website. We can connect you to the portal to get access to Lindenwood students for summer internships. Faculty members are available as researchers. And we also have access to RIPPLE, which is an acronym for Research Innovation and Partnership Lab. And what that is our startups can basically get access to design and project implementation support from faculty members at Lindenwood. So again, just more value-added services that I-10 can provide to our startup community. Okay, now I'll go on to Eureka. The Eureka program, Melissa talked about it having two components, ideation and validation, and there's actually a third that hasn't launched yet. And that's what we're working on right now. It's called commercialization. So following validation, those companies that participate in that will have identified key projects that they need to complete to commercialize their business, to advance their business. And what we're working on right now, we don't have commitments yet, but what we're working on is getting funding so that we can provide micro grants to the startups that participate in commercialization when it is launched. So more to come on that, but just wanted to share with you kind of the next step of programming, and it's specifically related to Eureka. So we're very excited and working very hard to make that a reality. And then some of you may have seen the news about the St. Louis Development Corporation receiving a grant from the Economic Development Agency, the federal agency for the Tech STL Consortium. And I saw Steve Davis is with us. He's our partner in this. He's from St. Louis Development Corporation. He's a major projects manager there. And they are the lead on this grant. And we are a kind of a sub-awardee of that grant. And part of delivering the deliverables of that grant is expanding the Eureka program as far as the frequency in which we will be offering that. But to be clear, a little bit more clear about what is this Tech STL thing, it's a consortium. And so there's not going to be another new entrepreneur support organization formed for programming and services. SLDC, and under Steve's guidance, they're going to hire someone who is really going to work to bring the ecosystem to work better together. SLDC, some of you are familiar with the Equitable Framework report that they published last August. And this came out of that, that report. It was a need that was identified for the St. Louis region. So really it's about forming the Tech STL consortium so that our ecosystem can perform at higher capacity and more effectively. Did I get everything, Melissa?
That's enough. I'm exhausted.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of tired too. So how are we doing on time?
We have 4:44.
Oh, 4:44. Okay, so I'm gonna bring it to a close here, but I'm gonna ask you guys, if you do have questions, would you put them in the chat? If we run out of time, we can circle back with you and answer any questions that you may have. So if there are questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. But does anybody notice anything different about us? Kind of putting you on the spot. So we have been working on, I won't belabor you guys on this, but we have been working on a refresh of our brand. The colors have changed. So it's a blue and gold tone instead of a blue on blue tone. So we've been doing a little bit of a refresh of our brand. You know, we're 13 years old. What?
Brandon, you got it right. Brandon
Okay.
said new logos, new color scheme.
Yes, exactly. Also, you'll notice our acronym remains the same, I-10, but the words are different. So the new words are innovation, technology, and entrepreneur network. We're still I-10, but the words are different. So again, a refresh, we've kind of felt like information technology may be a little stale or limiting. Yeah, and as you go to our website, if you've been there recently, you'll see it looks very different as well. So just wanted to kind of share that with you too. It's not on the slide, but our team has worked really hard at that. As you all know, particularly when you're starting a business and you have to go through the branding process, it's a bigger undertaking than anybody ever realizes. So a lot of work was done by the team on this effort, and I want to thank them because I think they did a great job. So with that, I will proceed on to making sure that you know about our upcoming events. Melissa's mentioned, signing up for Startup Digest on our landing page on our site. Please sign up for our newsletter and the Startup Digest so you're stay informed and connected. Our second Thursday, which this is part of that series, we always host in May. It's going to feature the graduates of the validation cohort. So we hope you'll come back and visit with us in May to hear that. And then Mark Raffanini from Kara Stone is going to be our featured speaker in June. And I should also share with you, Mark's a busy guy because he's the founder and managing partner of Kara Stone, but he's also a partner at Calais Capital Ventures. So he's a wealth of information and knowledge. And so he's going to be our guest speaker on June 10th. Some of you may have heard Mark speak before, and if you haven't, you can go to our YouTube channel and hear some of his past presentations, which I strongly encourage you to do. And then finally, just to wrap things up, we thank you so much for joining us today and participating in this. The impact reports are available and live on our website now, so you can download them from our website, the impact report and the maps. And don't forget about the digital resource map that's sponsored by Kara Stone, because that is live and allows you to, up to date and live, and allows you to drill down on information about the different entrepreneur support organizations. Well, with that, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. And to our entrepreneurs that spoke today, we appreciate it. Brian, Brandon, and David. Thank you for being with us. Here's to a great and exciting new year in 2021 for everyone. Have a good afternoon.